Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 5th of November. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own chance. I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at CTM The Bigger Picture.substack.com, and it's published on YouTube after a delay of a week. All right, great. Let's have a look at what's happened yesterday. Now, yesterday we had a decent decline, and that's looking pretty promising for the overall topping patterns, which I'll be talking about on the RTH charts. But here we've seen a little more downside overnight. I'm thinking we might see a little further downside today, although I think we might be close to a short-term low. We've got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing here, and we've got one on NQ. Just held on to that divergence there. And we've got another one on RTY. So I think those have got a good chance of fixing today. We also reached a decent looking inflection point. The double top on RTY has broken down with a target in the 2292 to 2300 range, and I have a feeling that's going to I think these are bull flags, and these are going to reject back up into the high. Could these be could these be double tops forming or alternative topping patterns forming on Bigger Picture? Yes, they very much could. Looking at YM, this one relatively muted yesterday, hasn't retested the low, and we're not going to get a 60-minute buy signal now because we've gone up over the 50 level on the RSI. But we're testing the monthly pivot here. ES is below it, but not hasn't broken it with any confidence yet. NQ again below it, but hasn't broken it with confidence. RTY was already a long way below it, and YM is holding on to it too. So I'm thinking those levels are going to be tested today, and there's a pretty good chance they'll hold and will reject back upwards. Now, what are the chances of getting a head and shoulders here? Not much. We haven't reached the right level. If we got down here, down below 6,700, I might have a prospect there, but really, I'm not seeing that here. If we're going to reject back up to the high, we'd be forming a double top. NQ, not much prospect of head and shoulders here either. RTY, obviously we've got a double top here, possible larger double top part formed or head and shoulders part formed, but I'm thinking we could break down from this, but I'm thinking more in terms of rejection to the high from here, and then we see what happens. YM, these all look kind of like bull flags forming. So although not high quality ones, I had a look. All right, DAX and ESTX. DAX made a lower low yesterday. ESTX has also broken down from a double top with a target significantly lower. But my lean is we're probably going to find some support today, see at least a decent rally, and very possibly a high retest. All right, let's have a look at the patterns on the Bigger Picture charts. Okay. Looking at SPX, we almost tested the daily middle band today. Didn't quite make it, but got very close. We still got RSI 14 sell signals fixed across the board, but it really didn't move the needle on those. They need a really decent move to deliver. What we're not going to see, because we went down too far, is a retest of the high, which gives us daily sell signals. I would note we've got a head and shoulders here, which is broken down on the RSI, which hasn't made target yet. I'm thinking that might well make target today. Looking at the hourly chart, we've overthrown my last post, and I'll have another one out today. My last post was talking about these this wedge overthrowing, and this is us touching the wedge support again. This would be a good time, or ideally with a little breakdown from it, a good time to retest the high, set up a topping pattern, and come down. Gotta say though, this is a huge move. We've come up from 4835 to 6920, so we've gone up 2,000 points. If we were to see a 50% retracement of that, it would be 1,000 points. We're not looking at anything like that at the moment. We're really looking at a potential pattern forming that could just get us back to this possible head and shoulder neckline in the 6850 area. I'm thinking that might well deliver. In terms of a sizable retracement, that wouldn't be one. If we were to see this head and shoulders form and play out and get us back down into the 6100 area, that would get us back to the 38.2. That would be a more decent retracement. But a proper 50% retracement would get us down 1,000 points. All right, looking at the 15-minute chart, we've got an RSI 5, well, 14 buy signal fixed. We've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed, and obviously we've got buy signals brewing on the hourlies on the futures. Looking at Q. Hasn't made it either to the daily middle band or to the rising support. Might see those today, or might bounce before we get there. No divergence on the hourly chart, but again, I was talking about this overthrow, and this at the moment is not supporting well. We're not seeing a breakup as yet. We've got an RSI 14 buy signal fixed and an RSI 5 buy signal fixed on Qs as well. Looking at Dia, hasn't quite made it back to the daily middleman. Might do that today. Also, hasn't quite made it back to the rising support. Might see that today. We will see. But really, for a proper topping process, I'd like to see at least one of these wedges break. So I'm leaning towards seeing a bit more downside in RTH before we see a decent rally here. No divergence on the Dia 15-minute. All right, let's have a look at the IWM chart. IWM was already the weakest. It failed to retest this high, was already below the daily middle band, and has reached the daily, got pretty close to the daily lower band. We have a hourly chart. We were already below the wedge support, but this looks, because we made the a lower high on the second high of this possible double top, it's looking more like a flag or a triangle forming than a double top. We will see how that develops today. On the 15-minute, no current divergence. We will see how. Actually, no, I've got a possible 15-minute RSI 5 buy signal break. We'll see how that goes today. All right, DAX has gone down under the daily middle band, which is on the roller compressed-looking bands. Could well go lower. We shall see. Nikkei is still close to the highs, but obviously we had a down day yesterday. We've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, which I'm watching. If that fixes, then that will add to the 4 already on the main indices. All right, let's have a look at dollar. Dollar has been pressing up, even though we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, and the euro has been pressing down, even though we've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. We're getting to an important stage here, which I'll talk about on the RTH charts. Let's just have another flick through the other currencies. GBP USD, steady decline. USD JPY, we've got a nice looking rising megaphone here, and this is us testing basically rising megaphone support. Pretty close. Now, how close are we talking there? Pretty close, but not quite a hit, I don't think. So we'll see how that goes. I've got to say, often when I see this actually precedes a breakdown, so we might see that next. USD CAD heading higher at the moment. I was talking about it being a possible double top yesterday, but not saying, I was saying that I didn't think there was likely to be any a double top there, actually. So I was leaning towards DX going up. It's still doing that. Australian dollar going down. 6-minute buy signal fixed. Almost failed yesterday. NZ going down as well. Possible double bottom, but I'm not really expecting it to be. Let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on those. USD. This is the double bottom that I've been talking about, forming and so on for months. We are testing the double bottom resistance, which is at 100.26. A breakup delivers a target of the 104.05 to 104.15 area, and I think it's got a pretty good shot at making that. We will see. On the monthly chart, we've now got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed. We've still got a weak RSI 14 buy signal fixed on the weekly. I'm liking this. It looks good, and this looks like a very reasonable target. Obviously, the full target on the bull flag wedge we've got here would be a move up that got us over first flag resistance in the 108 area and then got us up to a retest of 114.78. It could be that we're going to do that. But what I am feeling good about is this double bottom. With possible resistance on the way to the target at this double resistance here, which is the 50 DMA and the daily middle band in the 102.6 to 8 area. We will see how that goes. All right, euro obviously has a matching bear flag that mirrors the dollar one. GBP has as well. No current divergence on the daily charts. Not really divergence on the daily charts or anything. This could be a bull flag on GBP, but I don't think it is. I think we're heading back towards the wedge support here. We will see how that goes. Obviously, the wedge support is already broken on the euro here, and we've got a very nice looking double top, although we're further away from breaking through that than we are on the upside with the dollar. All right, not a lot else to see on currencies, so let's move on to bonds. Okay, bonds. We've been seeing a bit of a rally here. We had a double top that has made the target area, and we've got a larger head and shoulders that hasn't made the target area, which is in the 116 area. We've seen a bit of a rally. We might see a bit more of a rally, but I'm leaning towards this going down on the bigger picture. On ZN, we've got a head and shoulders just broken down, not quite made target. This looks like a bear flag forming. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture. And I'm looking at TYX. TYX, what I'm looking at here is a potential bull flag, and this would be us coming off this bull flag support, and I like it. It's nice, but we still need to get through some resistance to make it up there. We've got the first of those resistances is the 50 DMA, and we're also going to need to get through the 200 DMA at 47.75. We are back over the daily middle band, so that's progress, but obviously we've got some resistance to work our way through. Looking at TNX. TNX on the upside, we're at 40.89. We're slightly over the daily middle band. We're testing the 50 DMA at 40.94, and we've got the 200 DMA at 42.98. Is this as clear a bull flag? No. But I'm still leaning towards the upside. We shall see how that goes. On the hourly chart, I would note that we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. We had an RSI 5 one that's already made target. This could be, this is suggesting that we might see some more downside before likely we continue upwards. All right, TLT, no current divergence. We got into this resistance area here, and so far we're failing there. Back under the daily middle band. I wouldn't mind seeing that back tested. I'd prefer not to see it back above the daily middle band. So watching that carefully. On the hourly chart, RSI 5 buy signal fixed and made target. Nothing on the RSI 14. Looks like bottoming action, and I think likely it is bottoming action. All right, let's have a look at CL. All right, on CL, we've been having some consolidation here, and we had a little level bottom, broke up, almost failed, but this moment is going sideways. I think a larger bull flag might be forming. Leaning towards this delivering a retest of this high at least by the time this is done. Could this be an IHS forming? No, it looks like one, but it's too big. All right, looking at HO. HO has gone higher, no current negative divergence. RBOB, we've been drifting higher as well, no current negative divergence. On NG, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. It's been going higher since we on and off since we did that. Since we fixed it, hasn't made target yet, but I've got something to say about this on the bigger picture chart, which let's have a look at those right now. Let's have a look at oil first. Right. WTech didn't quite reach the retest this low here at 56.06. This might be a bear flag forming, but I'm thinking this might well be a double bottom forming. If this is a double bottom forming, then a sustained breakup over 78.40 would have a target which would be in the 100 area. Now, obviously, we've got potential decent looking bullish patterns and potential to the upside here. On the monthly charts, we've got these falling wedges which have broken up, forming a bottoming pattern, and the next obvious move is up. And we've got that on WTIC, and we've got that on heating oil, and we've got that on gas oil. Those are all looking pretty good. In terms of WTIC, obviously we've got a potential double bottom. On heating oil, we've got a pretty nice looking inverted head and shoulders. And on gas oil, we've got a double bottom after a flag which broke down into a retest below. These are nice looking bottoming patterns, least so on WTIC, but nonetheless, these are all pretty nice looking bottoming patterns. We will see how those develop, but I'm thinking we may well see a move which could take us big rally higher, and I think that might be on the basis that that Russian oil is being gradually, one, excluded from market, two, bombed into oblivion by the Ukrainians. Altogether, Russia is a very important supplier in the world market. It's been delivering about 9 billion barrels a day, and while we're looking at a surplus potentially of about 2.5 to 3 million barrels a day next year, natural supply and demand. If you knock much of Russian demand out of that, then you supply out of that, you then suddenly have a supply shock, which could force prices considerably higher. So I'm thinking that's very much on the cards. On natural gas, we had an IHS, it made the target, and I'm wondering about a retest this high here at 4.59, and we are well on the way there. So I'm leaning towards it making it. We've got no current negative divergence, and that is the obvious next move. What would that look like on the bigger picture? Well, actually, it would look like the second high of a double top, I think. Might be a little, it's a bit oversized for it, but nonetheless, it's not hugely oversized for it. So we could, of course, resume this uptrend here, but at the moment, that looks broken to me. I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this high and then a fail, and then our seasonal rise that I was talking about for months is likely to happen, has then been delivered. We'll see what happens when we get up to the retest of 4.59, but I'm thinking we might well see a fail there. All right, great. Let's have a look at metals, and let's have a look at GC. Now GC, we broke down from this head and shoulders with a target in the 3650 area, and since then it's been going sideways in what looks like a bearish consolidation. So this looks like a bear flag kind of setup, setting up a retest of this low here at 3900 and potentially extending lower, which might get us to this head and shoulders target, which is pretty ambitious, however, in the 3650 area. On SI, I've been watching to see if this head and shoulders would fail, and it hasn't yet. But I would say we've got a possible inverse head and shoulders forming here, and it could be that's a pattern to reject higher on silver. Until then, though, we've got a head and shoulder target down in the 3940 area. Now, looking at palladium, we've broken down from a head and shoulders there too. Possible alternate IHS forming here, but nowhere near as nice. 6-minute buy signal fixed. We'll see how that goes, but at the moment, these head and shoulders are all still valid, and the target for this one is in the 1077 area. Looking at platinum, this looks like a bear flag, which is starting to break down. HG, we broke down for a double top with a target in the 488 to 492 area, and we've now made that target. We've got a 6-minute buy signal fixed. May well see a rally. Obviously, there is a larger double top here, which is down here, but I'm thinking a rally. Then we think about whether we're going to come down and get to that, which I am favouring. Although there is talk of copper shortages next year, it may be that actual supply and demand overtakes what should happen here, really, which is a move down, but we will see. All right, USD, let's go on to KC. KC, I'm still wondering about a retest of this high, and to make a nested double top setup. Leaning short on the bigger picture. SB, I was leaning towards seeing a retest this low. We've seen it, and I'm thinking that we've got a pretty good chance of breaking up here, but it could be in a larger meltdown on the bigger picture chart. I do have a downside target in the 6.5 to 9 area. We could be on the way there, but this is a nice little setup for a rally. We shall see. Looking at CC, this looks like a bear flag forming. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing on CT. CT, I've been talking about this possible alternate rising megaphone here, and you can see here we came down and exactly touched the support here. That confirms the wedge, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to break down, but I'm now favouring this breaking down rather than this IHS, which is broken up with a target in the 68 area. I'm thinking this is likely to break down and go back and retest the low. If it does that, great. If it is going to do that, then we're obviously going to get below the right shoulder low, and that's where this inverse head and shoulders fails in about the 64.35 area. Looking at hang on, let's have a look back at the RTH metals. Okay, gold went beyond the possible trend line I had here. So really bigger picture, I'm leaning higher. On the daily chart, we're below the daily middle band and consolidating, and we could see this would be the IHS here. We could well see this go somewhat lower. 36.50, it's not the end of the bull market. The fact is, long bull markets in gold tend to be interspersed with sizable corrections. So it's not really the end of the world or indeed the end of the bull market. Looking at silver, silver, no current negative divergence on the monthly or weekly. We'd need retests to the high for that, and I'm thinking we might want to get one soon. In the meantime, we are holding the daily middle band as resistance, and you can see the possible IHS that is forming. Looking at palladium, got some negative divergence here, but I'm really thinking that metals are just taking a pause here before continuing. So we will see how that goes. We've got some nice negative divergence on the platinum weekly chart. Bigger picture, I think platinum's breaking up with a target in the 2290 area. And on palladium, I think we're probably breaking up too. And I think we might be making an IHS right shoulder for, hang on, I'm just going to draw it in for you. This is speculative, obviously, but we do have a decent looking little potential pattern forming here. And actually, it's pretty nice. If we're going to see platinum break up here, then that would be a good way to do it, and we'd be forming the right shoulder now. Anyway, we'll watch what happens with that, but I'm quite liking that IHS, which I've been keeping an eye on for a while. All right, looking at copper. Copper, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. We've got this little double top here, which is the larger double top that I was looking at on the copper chart. I would like to see this break down and go back and retest this low here in the 4.31 area. There is talk, as I said, though, of a copper shortage next year. However, there's also the copper tariffs, which are going to depress usage of copper next year. All right, GDX. No current negative divergence and can't get any until we retest the high. On the daily chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, hasn't quite made target yet. No positive divergence on the RSI 5. On the hourly chart, no positive divergence either. I'm leaning, this could be a double bottom here, but this could equally be, and I'm going to draw it in here as well. Hang on. Pattern going in another direction, but nonetheless, this is something I'm looking at. We've got a possible head and shoulders here, which is already breaking down. So we will see how that goes. But there is definitely a good setup for metals to go somewhat lower, and they might well do. GDXJ, nothing to see really. RSI 14 sell signal is getting close to the possible near miss target here. In terms of the daily chart, here, let's have a quick look. This wouldn't be a bad head and shoulders. We can see an alternate form, but again, is there significant scope for a downside here? Yeah, there is. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. All right, great. Let's have a look at lumber. Lumber, I think this is a little bit of a rally before we head back down again. Bigger picture, we've got a large double tops looking for really, I think, about 350 area. 60-minute buy signal fixed here, hasn't quite made target. On ZW, I'm thinking we could be looking at a big breakup. I'll show you why that is on the daily charts, but meantime, I've got this labeled as strong uptrend, and until demonstrated otherwise, it is a strong uptrend. There is a potential little level top here, I would note, in the short term. On corn, I'm thinking we may well be seeing a breakup on here too. We saw a double top breakdown here, but that hasn't really made, this looks more like a bullish consolidation forming, and double top hasn't really done anything since it broke down. On soy, could be seeing a breakup here too on the deal for China to buy 12 million tons this year. We will see how that goes. Obviously, it's not great news for soy farmers. Next year, basically, they'll go up to, China will resume buying what they were buying last year. So, but obviously, they've had a rough year. Watching for a breakup here, no current negative divergence. ZL, we had a bear flag here, it broke down, retested the low. We have a potential level bottom here. On live cattle, this could be a bear flag forming resistance at the monthly pivot to retest this low, and it probably is. Bigger picture, I think this is about the Argentinians, the Argentine beef coming into the US, and I'm not sure. I think that's rather unpopular, and it may well not happen. In which case we could see these go straight up. HE, we've got a pretty clear falling wedge forming here now. This looks like a bullish underthrow. I'm expecting to see a rally. We've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed already. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts, and let's have a look at coffee. Right, I think this is topping out here. Obviously, we are well outside traditional ranges of where this is trading. We've got a nice looking little double top here, so I'm watching for that to break down, and we've got a potential larger double top here too, but we didn't actually get up to this high here on this second high up here. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm liking this as a topping pattern. On the daily chart, RSI 14 sell signal fixed, nice looking double top, waiting to see if that will deliver. We could, of course, resume and go up to hit this 441 target. I'm not seeing any particular reason it needs to do that. Sugar, we've broken down from this head and shoulders with a target in the 6.5 to 9 area, and at the moment, despite a number of nice looking bullish setups, we've been continuing down towards that. It may be because that's where we're going. In terms of the weekly chart, no current divergence. This wedge could be underthrowing bullishly, but equally it may just be breaking down. Looking at the daily chart, we've got a larger pattern here which I've been watching, and we've got possible support here down slightly below 1400. Sorry, I think probably in about 1385 area. We've also got, as soon as we retest this low here, we'll have a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing. We'll see how that goes. At the moment, though, we've had quite a few nice looking little bullish setups on sugar, and none of them have been delivering. Looking at cocoa, bigger picture, we saw a decent support break below 62479. We've rallied a bit above that here, but I'm leaning towards the downside. Looking at the daily chart, could this be a wedge from here? Yes. Is this something that looks that likely to interrupt the downtrend here? Probably not, but I am thinking we might rally a bit more before we go down. On wheat, we've got been looking for a while here at this double bottom, and we've now broken up from it. We've got a larger double bottom resistance all the way up here in the 617.25 area, but in the meantime, we've got a double bottom which is broken up here with a target in the 577 to 580 area, and I'm thinking that may well make a target. My lean is it likely will. Looking at corn, we've got a nice looking double bottom here too, and that we've broken over declining resistance. In the short term, we've got an IHS which is breaking up with a target in the 495 area. I'm liking this too. I'm thinking we may well be at the start of significant bull runs on wheat and corn. Looking at soybeans, soybeans have broken up over the obvious flag resistance, not consolidated over there so far, but I'm watching for a reversal pattern, which of course could involve a retest to the low in any case. But I've got a couple of other options. I've got an IHS neckline here, possible IHS neckline up here in the 1258 area, which I'm watching. On cotton, nice looking, as I said, nice looking double bottom. We will see whether we go up directly or whether we need another retest to the low, but at the moment it looks relatively promising. We are currently slightly over the weekly middle band at 65.17. If it can continue to do that and start making some progress to the upside, then this double bottom could break up directly. On lumber, we had a nice looking flag here which has been forming for, wow, almost 3 years. So we reached resistance up here, then we reached it again in what I was saying was likely the second high of a double top. We broke down, we've seen a rally, and then we're trying to continue that breakdown. That breakdown has a target at a retest of this low here at 35250. And obviously, bear flag support is currently in about the 485 to 490 area. So I'll be watching that. But my lean is we're going to be heading down towards that target. We shall see. Looking at the daily chart on lumber, not a lot to see. Liking the double top here. And this looks, once we start getting below this 517 low here, we should be well on the way to just heading down towards that. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at crypto to finish, and move on. Okay, I did a post about this yesterday, which would be worth a read. On Bitcoin, I was talking about the very big support here, which needs to hold on a weekly close basis at the 50-week moving average. And that was broken slightly yesterday, but not on a weekly close basis. That needs to hold. Or the alternative is we head down to this double top target in the 88.3 to 90 area. Looking at the daily chart, not a lot to see, no divergence. Weekly chart, hourly chart, rather. We've got a nice looking bull flag set up here. We are finding some support. We've got an RSI 14 buy signal fix, which I was concerned we'd lose yesterday, but it survived till the end of the day. And we've got one of those on Solana, and we've got one of those on Ethereum as well. In terms of Solana, not hitting a big support level here, but if we are going to be going back up, this is an okay looking flag. Hang on, I'm just going to extend that down. Bear with me. We do have an IHS target up in the 282 area. We do also have a target to the downside. Right, didn't quite make that, I don't think. No. Oh no, we did. Right, that actually is a very nice bull flag. Yeah, okay, that's not bad at all. All right, this could, if we're going to see a turn up, this really should be the place. This is something I was saying yesterday on my post, and I'm really liking that. No daily positive divergence. RSI 14 buy signals across the board on the hourlies. Ethereum, we've also got a big level here, which we also tested, and that's the 50-week moving average at 3145.41. These levels, if they are broken with any conviction, probably mean the bull market is over. But at the moment, it could still be in play. We shall see. All right, great. We shall see how that goes. And everyone take care, and I'll see you again on Sunday.